Hello, family. My name is James Trice, and I'm the creator of a podcast called YANA, or You Are Not Alone. You Are Not Alone is a podcast for Black men. It is more than just a podcast, it's a lifeline and a brotherhood. We're here to create a supportive, judgment-free space where Black men can have real, open conversations about what truly matters to us, from family and relationships to community, sports, culture, politics, faith, sex, race, education, and the challenges of everyday life. We dive deep into it all. Whether you're looking for advice, motivation, prayer, or just a comfort of knowing you're not walking this journey alone. YANA is here for you. This is your space to connect, grow, and be heard, because none of us are meant to do life alone. Look for new episodes weekly wherever you get your podcasts. And look for me on Instagram at jbtrice123. Welcome to YANA. Grace and peace, everyone. Thank you again for joining another episode of YANA, You Are Not Alone. Again, this is a space for Black men to talk uncensored in a judgment-free environment about the issues that matter most to us, because we're never meant to do life alone. And so I'm James Trice, your host. And again, thank you again for another episode, joining me for another episode of YANA. And today's guest, we have Marques Armstrong. Welcome to the show, my brother. Thank you so much for joining us. Please introduce yourself and say a little bit about you and what you want people who are listening or watching, what you want them to know about you.
How you doing, everybody who is tuning in? First of all, I want to say peace and love to you, my brother. Thank you for considering me, inviting me on the show to share my thoughts, for us to get some dialogue going. Truly appreciate you. I want people to know that it probably was 20 plus years ago, James, that I took one of your courses.
It
Oh,
was that long ago?
was
Wow.
it that? I think
It
so.
was. I think it
It
was
was,
that long ago. Yeah.
if not
Wow.
2018 to 19,
Yeah.
if not 20.
Wow.
But I ended up taking your community organizing public policy training course, in which I had to get referrals to get accepted into the class. It was a great experience. And then look at all these years later, much of the work that I have done, built on top of all the things that you taught me about organizing community, about getting policy changed, and just staying involved in community. So I want to thank you for giving me that training, because it has many, many years later that continue to help me, assist me, and support me in the work that I do.
Wow.
Some of the work that I do. So
Right.
again, Marques Armstrong, aka the Renaissance Man. Many of you know me as the owner and CEO of Renaissance House of Fashion, which is a men's haberdashery. It's a clothing line where we do suits, tuxedos, shoes, hats. We style you, we tailor you, we do bespoke suits as well. In addition to that, many of you probably know me as a mental health advocate and a mental health practitioner, being the owner of Hope and Healing Counseling Services, providing mental health services specifically to the African American community. Um, we'll serve anybody seeking to be healthy and whole at Hope and Healing Counseling Services. But our services are catered to the African American community, the men and women and children in our community. And in addition to that, been a deacon at Zion Baptist Church for 19 years. That's how I know it's been that long, because Pastor Brian is one of the people who gave me a reference to be in your class. Um, been serving with him for the last 19 years. It has been my honor and pleasure to sit underneath that man of God, who has helped me to develop in so many ways in my spiritual life, in my personal life, and in my professional life. Um, what do I want people to know about me? Uh, I am a brother who loves his community. I love my wife and my children. I love my neighbors. And I want to do everything that I can to contribute something positive to my community and to this world before, you know, I leave this plane.
Wow. Well, thank you, brother. Thank you for joining us. Let me
Yes.
ask this. You talk about um, hope and healing, your counseling services. What are you finding now is a primary issue that people are struggling with, particularly in as you know, this present political climate that we live in? I know my wife is a therapist, and she's inundated with requests for therapy, black therapists, and you know, there's only very few black therapists here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
But what are you finding is the primary issue that people are struggling with? Particularly black folks.
Um,
I want to focus on black folks, and particularly we could talk about black men, but we could talk
mhm.
about black people in general.
In
What are we
in
finding?
general, whether men, women, and or children, the entire family, one of the biggest things that I've been seeing lately is the struggle to maintain their sanity when the rest of the world around them,
Hmm.
their financial world, some are dealing with employment issues, not sure if they're going to have a job. I was talking with someone the other day, and they were so concerned about they work for the state, a government job, and they are really nervous and anxious about their employment status. It's hard for them to focus on anything else. I've encouraged them that to begin to think about what it is that they have
Hmm.
versus what it is that they potentially may not have, to
Wow.
encourage them to enjoy and appreciate the blessing of the what they have currently versus again focusing on what may not happen, because they seem to get depressed when they begin to think about losing their job or not being able to buy groceries. That's a big struggle right now as well. And then that if that's the adults, both male and female, then that begins to trickle down to the children. And then that
Hmm.
begins to impact them academically at school, how they're behaving, how they're functioning.
Yeah.
And so I'm encouraging people to really, again, focus on what is good in their life. Also, those who have a strong faith, to really dig into their faith and begin
Hmm.
to pray if that is what they do in their faith, and seek God's guidance and attention on what their next steps and what their next move will be. Because I often am saying to people, I just believe God has a plan. I have no idea what the plan is. It looks kind of bleak right now, but I don't believe he brought us this far just for things to continue to get worse. I believe he knows what he's doing, and we just have to trust him and continue to follow his direction in that.
Yeah, I do believe that uh, God is not random.
No.
And he doesn't do anything by happenstance. Everything
Mm-mm.
is done on purpose, and either he allows something or things to happen, or he causes things to happen. But he doesn't waste whatever's happening in our
No.
lives. And I do believe also that he moves slower than our urgency, but deeper than our expectations. You follow
Yes.
what I'm saying?
That's
And
good.
so,
Yes.
so in your work, what has been the makeup of the people? So male, female, black males, black female. Who are you, kids? Who are you mostly seeing come requesting your services?
When I first started my practice back in 2011, um, it was mostly I received mostly referrals for youth.
Mm,
Um, the referrals would come from many different places. They would come from the county, they would come from schools, they would come from parents, they would come from church members, um, concerned about their children's performance academically, or they noticed some particular things, and or they found themselves in trouble, getting caught up in the juvenile justice system. But then slowly, that began to shift, that the youth referrals didn't stop, and then I started to get more women, more mothers. And then to my delight in the last couple of years, I've been seeing a lot more men seeking support and seeking help.
Mm,
Not fully understanding what exactly it entails, but I've been noticing, excuse me, um, an openness, a more of an openness to receiving counseling services. And that may also be because of the way that the services are presented. Again, our services are catered to us. When you would walk into our offices or meet with one of our therapists, you saw someone that looked like you. When you looked around the office and or the offices, it reflected our culture and our history. We didn't make our offices to be sterile, like some of the mental health practices that I would refer people to many years ago before I started my practice. But our meeting spaces felt like living rooms. Their couches, their ottomans. Yes, there's a desk so we can take notes and have that stuff, but it feels more like a living room, more inviting, so that you can get comfortable and begin to share the challenging things that you're facing. So as of recently, like I was saying, I've been seeing a lot more men seeking, coming, man, I need to come and sit on your couch. Um, for many different reasons. I believe I first started to see it during the Derek Chauvin trial.
mm,
That's when I started to get a lot of calls from brothers. And they, in different words, but saying the same thing. Hey, man, I need to talk to you before I lose it. I'm sick and tired of being racially profiled. I'm sick and tired of seeing us gunned down. I'm sick and tired of getting followed in the store. I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And if I don't come and talk to somebody, I feel like I'm gonna snap. And I don't know if you recall, but then myself and Pastor Brian, all based on those calls that I got that week, we ended up developing what we called "Am I My Brother's Keeper?" Similar to this platform that you have, creating a space for Black men to come in and express ourselves, learn about our emotions, find the words to identify the feelings that we're having, because unfortunately, a lot of us weren't taught. We were only taught like two emotions: you feeling good or you angry. And
mm,
that was the two
mhm,
ends of the spectrum. And there's so many other feelings and emotions that are in between that. And so what we were seeing is that it was even hard for men to identify what they were feeling and how they were feeling as a result of whatever it was that was happening at that time. It was a lot of the unchecked violence that was happening against Black men and women and children in
mm.
particular. Um, so yeah, a lot
Yeah,
more.
I love what you said when you said, to your delight, you're seeing a
Hmm.
lot more black men. And I want people to really understand who are listening that the this is revolutionary, really, because we tend not to talk,
Right.
right? And that's why
Right.
you, like you said, I created this platform. And to your
Hmm.
delight, that you're seeing a lot more black men because you really
Hmm.
don't want to reach out and talk to
Hmm.
each other. That's why I named this platform YANA. You are not alone. So there's other
Hmm.
black men who may feel the same way you do.
Hmm.
So talk about this. This other question I have for you: what does it mean to be a black man in America today?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question. What does it mean to be a Black man in America?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, it means that, man, you have to have a solid foundation, um, a holistic, solid foundation. When I say holistic, I mean spiritually. As a man, as a Black man, we definitely have to have a solid spiritual background because we are under so much spiritual attack. It is unbelievable. From the moment that we wake up,
Yeah.
when we step outside our front door or back door, when we jump in that car, pull out of the garage, drive down the street, get out of the car, walk into the space, we are under attack in every single way, on a spiritual level, on a mental level, as well as a physical level. And so It means that we have to, being Black in this country, we have to be spiritually strong. It means that we have to, I use the analogy of Atlas, Greek
Hmm.
god. Uh,
Yes, yes.
I use that analogy because when I was younger, I thought it was representing a strong man who had the world on his shoulders, right? Like that's a good thing, like that he can carry all of that weight. But as I got older and matured, I realized he's on his knee. He's not even standing up. Why is he not standing up? Because he's got the weight of the world literally, or he has the globe on his shoulder. One
Yes.
man alone is not supposed to
Mm,
carry the world. It's impossible. That's why the brother is on his knee. And it's kind of hard to do a lot of things from that position. One
hmm.
great thing that we can do from that position is pray. Um, but outside of that, you're in a vulnerable position. And so it takes the other thing that it means to be a Black man is um what it should mean is community. um it's sort of YANA, you are not alone. Like we are not meant to carry the weight of the world
We're
alone.
not.
The weight of the world are the stresses and the traumas that we deal with, the things that are hard for us to discuss. Brother, I'm confused. I don't know what my next move is going to be, but
Right.
we have to fake it and act like we do by
Mm-hmm.
our by ourselves. But
Mm-hmm.
collectively, you may have the answer or a suggestion of something that I can do to address whatever said issue is, right? So then
Right.
that's you taking some of the weight of that world off by putting your hand on that globe as well. And then there's another brother who has some suggestions. And we just keep putting our hands on that globe, and before you know it, we're all standing up holding it together. I get I really get into that because of me thinking that Atlas was this great strong individual when really
Mm-hmm.
he was strong, but not strong enough to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders. So those are some of the things that I think
That's
about. And you
that's a
asked
one.
the question, what
That's
does
a
it
wonderful
mean?
analogy, man. That's a wonderful analogy because, the foundation of the substratum of this podcast is based in Ecclesiastes, chapter chapter 4, verse 9 and 10. It says that two are better than one, for they have a good return for their labor. If
Yes,
one falls, he has the other to lift him up,
that's right.
right? And
That's
then it
right.
goes on to say, but woe to him who is alone, for
Hmm.
when he falls, he has no one
Hmm.
to lift him up, right?
Amen.
And it goes right along with your Atlas descriptions that we need each other to help each other up.
Hmm.
We can't walk the journey of life alone. So let me ask you this follow up question to that. So tell what is the difference between being a black man in America and just being just a man in America, right?
I could tell you what I've heard. I only know about being a black man.
Right, right. We already know, right?
Um,
Right.
some of the things that I see happening in my world, um, the difference is one of the biggest difference that stands out is some of the conversation that we need to have with other young men,
Mm,
and also had to have this discussion with us. You're making me think about driving while black, right?
mm,
That whole conversation, right? That is
mm-hmm,
one of the things that is a distinct difference between being just a man and a black man
mm,
in this country. We have to be aware of everything around us, everything happening around us. And yes, every man should, regardless of color, should be aware of their surroundings.
mm-hmm,
But when we are in an environment where the individuals or the institutions that are here to serve a certain role of, don't give us that deference or give
Mm-hmm.
us a different type of, they receive us in a different type of way, then that causes
Mm-hmm.
us to have to move and function in different ways than, let's say, a man in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I think about even when I see cherries in my rearview mirror, brother, I am legal in every single way you can imagine.
Right.
But I get nervous when I see them cherries go off behind me.
That's right.
Not because I'm
That's
doing anything wrong, but because of what they have taught me that they're capable of doing to us simply because we're black and we're men, but happen to be black.
right. I mean, and you know, and you mentioned it earlier that a lot of the men began to come to you after this Derek Chauvin, but essentially
Hmm.
it was really what you were saying was the
Yeah.
murder of George Floyd when they saw this black
Yeah.
man being like basically lynched
Yeah.
for the world to see,
Hmm.
and this man, this officer felt like it was just another day on the job for him,
Another
watching
day.
this man's life. You know, it's
Hmm.
just crazy. So with
Hmm.
that, what do you think then is the most challenging part about being a black man? And then I want to follow up by saying, then what is the most rewarding part about being a black man? So first of all, what's the most
Um,
challenging part?
the most
And then
challenging,
what's the
and
most
I'm glad you
rewarding?
put it that way, to put the challenging part first, and then we end with the good, the beautiful thing about being a black man. The most challenging thing, man, is to know and understand the historical context of what we're dealing with in this country. Um, the historical context, and then bring it to the present, and realizing that, especially now, although we made a lot of progress, right, in this country, and it's undeniable. We've come this far, like we've come a long way, um, and yet we still have a long way to go. But even the as much of the road that we've traveled and advanced in, it appears that this country is reminding us of really what they think about us and pushing things back, some of the progress that we've made, pushing it back. Um, and so to see that we have had to pick the it is our we have had to, it is also our responsibility to pick up the mantle of those who came before us in the civil rights movement, and just the human rights movement, the fight for justice, to see the films of what was going on in the civil rights movement with the water hoses, the dogs, the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and the beatings, and see all of that. Um, and then if we look at some of the most recent footage of things that are happening, it looks eerily similar to that, right? And now I have to think about my children having to experience that, and then their children, who are my grandchildren. And so it's challenging to look at that and see like, wow, I was hoping that we were able to beat down this last piece of systemic racism so that the future doesn't have to deal with it. Um, yeah, that's extremely challenging for me. Um,
Yeah.
Seeing history repeat itself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and at the same, in underneath that is knowing what we know about why our community is in the condition that it's in. We know that redlining happened and is happening. We know that systemic racism happens. We know that the educational system is failing our children horribly, especially in the city of Minneapolis, but I think around the country as well, failing us medically, um, poverty, all of these things, knowing all of these things, and we've known this stuff, the stats and the data about this stuff for, I want to say at least 50 years, but I know more than that. Let's just say 50
Mm-hmm.
years. And we have not come up with solutions that help uplift us all collectively. And I hope I'm saying that right. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we have to begin to take responsibility. Not saying that many of us don't, many of us do, but I think the we need a masses of us to get on board so that we can shift these things, because collectively we have the buying power. Collectively we have the intellect. Collectively we have all it is that we need to further our community. But for some
Mm-hmm.
reason, it's not happening collectively.
Right.
Challenging to see that. It's like I remember during COVID, I did a lot of research around historical and intergenerational trauma because I wanted to understand it. I had a thesis that that is what the historical and intergenerational trauma contributed to the things that we are seeing in community, not the community violence, which some people call black on black crime. I call it community violence. The domestic violence that's happening and all the things that we're seeing, the drug abuse and use and alcohol use and abuse. I was trying to figure out how we got in that place. So the root was trying to get to the root of it. Um, and the thing that stood out to me is historical and intergenerational trauma have some symptoms. And the biggest one that stood out to me is in internalized oppression
Mm-hmm.
as a result of intergenerational and historical racism and trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what is internalized oppression? Internalized oppression defined is when the oppressed group begins to take on the ideology, attitude, and behavior of their oppressor.
Right.
Um, so if the oppressor taught us not to like our nose or these lips or this hair or this complexion, and we take on that ideology and that attitude and behavior, that means that I don't like myself. And
Mm-hmm.
brother, as I'm looking at this camera and I'm looking at you, if I don't like myself, then you reflect me, then I don't like you. And
Mm-hmm.
so if I don't like me or love me, then I can't like and or love you. And so if I don't like you or if I don't love you, then I don't value you. I don't value me. And if I have no value and if you have no value, then it means nothing for me to do something to you or
Yeah.
to myself because there's no value there, right? Um, and so simply put, internalized oppression is self-hate.
Yeah.
We begin to hate ourselves, and the things that I see happening in community with in particular community violence and the gun violence that was on an uptick. I'm reading and hearing now that it's kind of on a downtick now. Is
Mm-hmm.
that what you're hearing and seeing?
Yeah, I'm not hearing it as pervasive as it was before, but you're still seeing
Yeah,
some incidents
yeah.
that are happening, right?
It's still happening because James,
Yeah.
look, if if I loved me and we called each other what we used to call each other,
Mm,
uh,
yeah.
brother. That's what we blood, not the gang blood, but a
Yeah.
familial connection. Brother
Right.
is
Yeah.
my brother.
Yeah.
And so we've gone from that, and we're on this podcast. So I'm gonna just use this language. Uh, nigga,
Mm-hmm.
nigga has no value,
Nope.
but a brother does, right?
Mm.
And so we
Mm.
don't we're less. seeing each other as brothers and seeing each other as niggas, and niggas have no value. So now I can pull out this gun with this switch on it and just spray the whole block up.
Right.
Um, and so when I realized that, I realized the internalized oppression that I was still dealing with, even though
Hmm.
I'm aware, right?
Right. Right.
I had to
Right.
take a look at a few things like, wow, this stuff is deep, it's pervasive. They have inundated us with this again since conception,
Yeah.
that we're inferior. That's what they want us to believe. I don't believe that.
Well,
Um, and so um, that is the other part of the challenge. Like
right.
that's the challenging thing for me to see it, to try to point it out, and there's so much resistance to it. It is hard to get somebody
It is.
to recognize they're suffering
Yeah.
from internalized oppression. Um, at one point, I gave up on it. Like I felt like I was
Yeah.
running to a brick wall, frustrating myself. But I figured I'd just live it out, and hopefully, it comes out, and people get the revelation and begin to do their self-healing work to decolonize our minds, spirits, and our bodies. Um, so those are the challenging things. The beautiful things about being a Black
Yes.
man. Oh
Most
my
rewarding thing. Yes.
man. So, we possess so much inside of us that God placed in us. One of the things being melanin. Um,
Mm.
and through that melanin, we are able to create, to be innovative, to be builders, uh, to be able to stand in the sun, both of them, the SUN and the
Yeah.
SON.
So,
Um, so it is it's a beautiful thing to come home, um, and walk in the house, and that beautiful melanated baby girl of mine
mm,
runs up to me and she
mm,
says, "Mommy, the king
mm,
is home. Mom,
mm.
king is home." And I'm like, yeah, I have arrived. um, like I feel I I don't even have words to describe what that
Right. Right.
feels like. Um,
Mm.
but uplifting is
Yeah.
one of the words, and it's coming from my baby,
Mm.
who is only 8, but started saying it when she was like 5 years old. Um, Said it so much that my wife was like, "Did you tell her to say that?" I'm like, "Nah, babe, I didn't. She's very close to heaven, like she's 5, so she's
Mm.
closer to
Mm.
heaven than we are. So she just recognizes
Mm.
God's
That's
ordering
that's
and
beautiful,
how He
man.
laid things out.
That's
Um,
beautiful.
but I didn't tell her that, but I receive it. Um,
Right.
um, watching watching our children grow and become, um, all that God had planned for them, even though
Hmm.
sometimes it's really not what we thought.
Mm.
And so yeah, just being that representation. So I'm clearly representing something impactful, strong, even royal, majestic to my daughter, right?
Hmm.
That's why she called me that, I'm assuming. Um, but then the other thing that I notice is this, being an inspiration and an example to other young men, and sometimes even men that are older than me. Um,
Hmm.
I have a young man in my office now, who is my oldest son's age. Um, Went to school with him, and there's a group of them. And to my delight and surprise, I had an impact. on them from when they were in elementary school.
Mm,
I had no idea. I had no idea that they even remembered me because I didn't work in my kids' school, although I was there a lot. Um, what they've said to me are things like, no, I remember you because you wouldn't just come and drop your son off. You would sit, you would talk to us. If you noticed something, and one of them said, I remember you came in and you did some lessons with us on self-esteem and self-image. And I go,
mm,
yeah, that sounds like something that I would do. But what they said was you were one of the first examples of what we thought a black man, in particular, a black father, should
mm.
be like and look like. And I know that I'm not perfect, but I also didn't know that I was having that level of impact and inspiration on people. How you doing, Ralph? And so those are some of the most beautiful things about being a black man. Um, it comes with a lot, but it also has a great deal of joy
Yeah,
and things to feel good about.
that's right. Wow,
Yeah.
thank you for that, man. And it's interesting, man, because we are actually out of time. 30 minutes
Dang.
goes quick.
Blows the
Because I
ball.
was going to get more into this. I wanted you to talk more about your business and the Hope and Healing Center and how people would get in touch with you. I do want to ask you one last question, and we got to wrap it up. Uh,
Mhm.
what is a favorite quote or a song, uh, something that someone has said that inspires you?
Mm, mm,
Book, movie.
mm. There's so many. Um, it's a paraphrase of one of them is a paraphrase from a Malcolm X quote um, that helped me in my transition to Minnesota.
Hmm.
Because I'm from Arkansas, country boy.
Okay.
Got here by way of Detroit, Michigan, Black City,
Hmm. Motor
Motown,
City. Yes.
to,
Motown.
to Brooklyn Park in
Uh,
1985. Uh,
when? When was that?
1985.
Okay.
Brooklyn Park wasn't even fully developed yet. Um, and so, but this quote helped me with that transition because I was getting some confusion. Um, but what this quote says is a paraphrase of it. If you want people to understand you, you have to learn to speak their language.
Mm.
Meaning, if I am in Japan and I want to be taken seriously and be successful in business or in anything, I'm more than likely going to have to learn how to speak Japanese or Mandarin or whatever language it is
Mandarin.
they
Yeah.
speak over there,
Hmm.
right? Um, in Brooklyn Park in 1985, I had to figure out a new language because my Detroit street vernacular was a lot
It
different.
wasn't working. That's right.
My yop and what up though and
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
they didn't know any of that.
Right.
And so I had to learn a new language um to be heard and understood, not to change who I am. And what I learned, one of the phrases is code switching.
Mm.
Good, bad, and different. I know some people that got caught in the code, and that can be dangerous as well. Um,
Hmm.
the last thing is from the movie The Great Debaters. Now, this one stands with me a lot. I say it to my children, I say it to myself, and I encourage other people. It's simple. Um, do what you have to do so that you can do what you want to do.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
yeah.
Yes.
Do
Wow.
what
Well,
you
thank you,
have to
brother.
do. Yes, you are
Thank
so
you,
welcome.
brother. Wow. Sorry. Look, bro, we gotta, like I said, we're gonna have to have you come back
I
because I
would
want to
love to.
dive deeper into some of this with you. I have so many more questions to ask you, and I want to really talk more about your business,
Yes.
and we can talk offline about that. But I wanted you to talk to the audience about your business.
Hmm.
But before we leave, I do want you to tell people how to reach you in your Hope and Healing Center?
Yes.
How does somebody reach you?
So how you can reach me is you can give me a direct call. You can call me on my phone. The number is 612-886-4218. That's 612-886-4218. We are currently a mobile office. We can meet online. We can meet you where you're at. And we also refer to other services because as you mentioned earlier, there are not enough of us and pretty much packed, but we have connections to life coaches, mentors, counselors, all sorts of things to get you by until you can get in with a therapist so that you can get some of the help that you need. Oftentimes, and I know we got to go, traditional therapy isn't for everybody.
Hmm.
There are a bunch of different healing modalities that work in our community. So we're open and offer some of those services as well. But my brother, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I
No,
truly
thank you.
appreciate you.
And people, ladies, gentlemen, those of you who are listening, please reach out. Don't keep it in. Don't keep it to yourself. Talk. I know you want to man up, but you need to open up as well,
Yes.
and talk and get it out. You're not meant to do life alone,
No.
and you can't be your best self by yourself,
Mm.
and so you need others to support you, and people are there, willing to listen to you. And brother Marques Armstrong and his business are is there for you. So thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on this episode of Yana. And please remember to like, subscribe, and follow and share on YouTube, and then on Apple and Spotify. And there is a new episode every Thursday. You can catch on YouTube, and then you can catch the audio version on Apple and Spotify. Thank you again, and remember, until next time, we're not meant to do life alone. Grace and peace.
Grace and peace.
Yana is here for you. This is your space to connect, grow, and be heard, because none of us are meant to do life alone.